Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESGT official for round 5, the penultimate round of the GT4 series. We are at the Circuit de Sainte-Croix at the south of France, and the 20 minutes of qualifying, well, they've just gotten underway. The field led out by the two Phoenix Esports Hondas, favorites to clinch the title. Will it be them being successful here tonight, or will it be in the hands of the challengers from the virtual life experience, or perhaps GRT and Holman and the Lexus, who could be strong here as well? The race will show. We'll have 18 laps of racing. We've got tires times 3 and fuel times 4 for this race today. And as mentioned before, 18 minutes, well, that's 18 and a half minutes left of qualifying. And before that, of course, just a quick mention, tire wear and fuel consumption turned off for the qualifying session as well, which is indeed worth noting. So Darkrai, let's have a look at the, and I cannot bring it up to you because I don't have a graphic of it. Oh, this Darkrai goes off, oh, and takes a big spin and a tumble into the wall. Well, he'd be happy damage is turned off, because be looking at a bad situation otherwise. They're gonna be facing a lot of traffic though for the rest of the session. Time wasted. He doesn't get a lap in now. That much is for certain. The championship leader here is, but only by 2 points in front of Huetso, the virtual life experience driver in the BMW with Nova. Further 8 points adrift. And then it's Metallic, Dr. Lovejuice, and Bonjour Storm, who's pretty close. I don't think Bonjour Storm is on track for this race today. The only privateer, by the way, of course, Darkrai of Phoenix 7. And then the 2 VLX cars is Metallic in the McLaren for One Racing Esports. Of course, a teammate of Pamigo, the Portuguese, who's also racing a Lexus. Dr. Lovejuice is best of the Porsches in the standings, 5th overall, who's been very consistent. There's Lamb and the other Honda, and the aforementioned Huetso following in close behind. This is the first flying lap of qualifying, a very long track, this Sainte-Croix B-layout, and they are of course facing it, I was just about to say the wrong way around, which is indeed today the right way around. The wrong way is the right way. And the right way is the wrong way. It's all very strange. But it'd be interesting to see if the Hondas are on top here as well, or if the BMWs are able to match the pace. It seems we are a little lag-stricken by the Aussie here, Huetso, who's of course on the other side of the planet from where I am in Denmark, in Northern Europe. Oh yeah, Abel, it just had to be the big the big croissant. As we got the first couple of times here being set 2:16.1 from Lamb, who's back here from Division 2 after having dominated. And DJ in the Cayman actually edging off Lamb, but by a split second in the end, 34 thousandths of a second, separating DJ from Lamb, first and second, and that's quite impressive, I have to say. Holman is indeed up there, at least here early days with a one. Well, one. That's going to be impressive. By any case, oh, there's DJ in the Cayman going a little wide. Oh, that's not DJ. It's Dr. LJ. Oh, and yet again, Dr. LJ seemingly not really having found the rhythm here for qualifying, scraping the wall. And is that some kind of contact penalty somehow being on? I'm not quite sure. And of course, in the case, that's not supposed to be. Here's DJ. Oh, what's happened here? And you have to wonder, was there contact? I was trying to get the WAN cam on for this one. Oh, by no means any sort of contact there, DJ, though in the wall. And Lamb improves, though not by enough. Oh, that was over the penultimate sector. Here it is across the line. 2:15.8 for Phoenix 7. That's Lamb on provisional pole. DJ is now second. Huetso still third. Holman, the Nova in 5th place here. Tucho. Dr. LJ 7th. Fullness 8th at the moment for Kinetic. Still 12 minutes and 40 seconds. 12 and a half minutes to go. Gran Turismo 3-line, brilliant stuff. X11 there with a 218. There's room for improvement. Darkrai in the 215s as well. Second fastest provisionally, but finding a bit of traffic to contend with here after that warm-up lap spin. It's not left him in the perfect position, that's for sure. It's the Corvette of X11. They're all giving space though for Darkrai on this flying lap. The majestic M-Force Apple. I can show you a couple of them. That's for sure. It's of course the VLX M-Force. Two of them there are. Wetzo and Nova. 4th and 6th at the moment here in qualifying. They will not be overly happy with that, I think. Being 2nd and 3rd in the championship with a lot to gain here. The penultimate round of the season, mind you. And it's all coming towards a pointy end of things as we'll have the season finale from the Nürburgring 24-hour layout. But of course, today it's all about the racing here at Sainte-Croix. And just what kind of a race are we gonna have? It's gonna be interesting to see. Also, in the light of just how strategy is gonna be affecting the race. A lot of slipstream to be had down the long straights of Sainte-Croix. And certainly also ample opportunity to race, but it is also a track where if you go too aggressively at it with each other, you are going to find yourself losing time to whoever's around you, taking the optimal line. Oh, who was that? And the question is that Darkrai getting a little bit out of shape? It most certainly was there in the final corner, but nothing dramatic though. I think it looked a little worse from the zoomed in angle we had it at before. Because Darkrai, was that an improvement at all? I don't necessarily think so. They're the best lap. 2:15.9, not an improvement, and a little bit down. That's a bit over a 10th down here through the first sector. And I just gotta get used to the fact that it's the other way around here. So this left hand tight open hairpin. A tight open hairpin, that's kind of an oxymoron. Occurs to me. It's a tight corner, an open hairpin, you could say. Leads out to this very long straight, this Malsan-ish crest, and then into the tight but yet sweeping left-hander to the section that seemingly is public road, of course. 90-degree right-hander onto the bridge. Oh, and it's about keeping it in there with Darkrai. Doesn't exactly do. Yes, Apple, Your Majesty. It is PD spec BOP with no tuning allowed. Tires available to the drivers are hards, mediums, and softs as well. Wetzo improves, but not by much, I believe. And the two BMWs now 4th and 5th, so actually that is enough of an improvement to actually gain a bit of a spot. Holman now 6th, 5 Signs is 7th, Tucho for DNA in the Ferrari is 8th at the moment. It's still Lamb, Darkrai on top of things. Phoenix Esports really looking strong here. Darkrai with the pit stop. The question is, unusing, I was just about to say that they shouldn't be using either tires or fuel here. So Lamb for Phoenix Esports really looking strong at the moment. It is still close. Oh, they just take it wide every single time. This right-hander coming onto the bridge. You really want to maximize your run, but it's a deadly game to play in the end if you get it wrong. As we saw DJ, who's made it a 1-2-3 on the grid at the moment here for Phoenix Esports. And in the Nukeshed, we've seen the Hondas look very strong this entire season. It seems to be the strongest car of this field, paired with a couple of skillful drivers as well. That makes for a deadly combination. But we have also seen the speed of the BMW M4s, the raw performance, albeit the lack of tactical flexibility, you could say, perhaps, in the BMWs, with the high fuel consumption rates that they are suffering under, has put a bit of a bottleneck at some tracks, at least, because we have seen the BMWs be very strong as well. Still following Lamb around. Let's have a look at some of the other cars here. Fullness in the Kinetic Corvette. Currently 8th on the grid, as we're into the final 6 minutes of qualifying here. DJ's in the pits, so is X11. X11 driving a Lexus with a new Kinetic livery. That looks very good indeed. Here's Tuccio in the Ferrari, currently in 9th place, very closely locked on track with Dr. Lovejuice. That's not a position you want to be in here for qualifying, unless one of these drivers is thinking of actually using this close proximity to someone else to, well, either bump draft or just get a good slipstream down one of these straights here. Dr. Lovejuice currently 11th in the Cayman. For DNA, of course, looking to improve here. Is Menelik have left the room? Oh no, what's that all about? But it's a very good point that the bumpiness of the track is rarely seen in the world of GT Sport. And thus the effect that it has on the cars, really unsettling the machines into both ends of the bridge. It's a very good point there Apple made, that it makes for a difficult entry, it makes for a difficult exit to the bridge section indeed, and it's a long straight bit there in the middle, so a crucial one to get right. There's no improvement there on the last lap for Dr. Lovejuice. Talk of some lag here for Pemigo. Not really seeing it, but someone was in the wall right there before. What was that all about? That's DJ. Oh, that's DJ. Who's currently 3rd on the grid here with Dr. Lovejuice, putting in a 2:17 dead to go. Currently 8th on the grid. 5 Signs improves as well. Currently 7th. And the 3rd of the Phoenix Esports Hondas. And the top 5 consisting all of Phoenix Esports on the top 3, followed by 2 VLX drivers on the left. And the rest will be left to fight out for the scraps, at least here in qualifying. Lamb on the bridge in that middle sector. Purple fastest, but by 7,000ths of a second, so it's not really... I don't know if it's necessarily something we should put too much into. Oh, Lamb close to going too wide there. Keeps it in, but might have lost a little time on the run into the final corner, which is a lot tighter this way around as well, and actually allows for attacks. And certainly that wall very close on the outside of the final corner, so not much room for error. It is an improvement though for Lamb. 2:15.774. Huetzo improves as well in 4th place, though not by enough to gain a position. We're gonna be watching them as they come across the line. There's a big group of cars. Here it is. Hallman, first one to go across, does not improve. DJ, I think, does not improve as well. A big shunt, that's Dr. Lovejuice. And none of these cars are able to gain anything. We're into the last minute of qualifying now. And thus, the really interesting bit is now getting closer here. 5 signs on a purple sector 1. The question is that Cayman of Dr. Lovejuice going to be too much in the way? It would be a grand comeback to cut off 1.1 seconds of that lap time. All in one go here at the end. Let's see here at the end of sector 2 exactly how it looks. Oh, an improvement, but not purple though. 2/10 up. Oh, that scrape of the wall there. That left-hander looks so difficult to deal with, even on the soft tires. Further improvements made here for 5 signs, who might just be looking at a good bit of improvement, of course. Let's see, Nova. I don't think there's too much ground to cover to gain a position on the grid, currently in 5th place. We're not really making inroads here into the final sector. Nova, as the checkered flag has now dropped. Oh, there actually is quite a bit away of making up to get back on terms here. Nova goes wide. That's not gonna be good for the final lap of the grid here. Let's see what kind of lap are we looking at across the line for 5S. Oh, lost it all there in the final sector. Just a slight improvement. Hallman goes faster as well. 2:16.6. Pamigo and that's DJ. A bit all over the place. So it seems, as far as I can see here, Lamb is definitively now on pole position in front of teammates Darkrai and DJ, making up the top 3. Joining DJ on row 2 is Huetzo with Nova in 5th place. Hallman 6th. 5S is 7th. Dr. Lovejuice, best of names, is in 8th place with Fullness of Kinetic in 9th. Tucho in 10th. X11 for Kinetic 11th. some kind of poetic justice there, maybe. And Pamigo should have had someone in between of himself and what is now himself in 12th place to fulfill the number in his name. With the last seconds of qualifying just running out here, it is just about to be race time here. A confirmation of qualifying results of the starting order. Take a good look at it. It's gonna be gone in a jiffy. And so it always is. Race time. 18 laps of GT4 touring car racing here from the Circuit de Sainte-Croix. The B-layout is about to get underway. And it's all Honda on the front row. Porsche, I think, with the best qualifying session so far this season. It's going to be interesting to see what DJ can do with it come race times here. Look at the red lights. When they go out and turn green, it is, of course, go time. And they're off! And let us instantly go to the WAN cam here. Look at the start from DJ and the Cayman, who gets brilliantly underway. And will be leading clearly into turn 1. Looking back over the shoulder of Lamb to see Wetzo still 4th, Nova in 5th. DJ leading Darkrai, and Lamb losing 2 places there on the start. Holman in 6th. And then Dr. LJ, oh, on a pass here, passing move made on Darkrai, and there's someone getting it pushed there further on behind. There was that move up the inside, and then what happened further down? Is that just lagging about? I think that was certainly, it looked quite like a lag spike. It's the T5 syndrome. That's a beautiful nuke shot. So Lamb, DJ, Darkrai, Wetzo, Nova, Wallman, Dr. LJ, and Tucho is the top 8 running order here. Halfway through lap 1 as they come off the first very long straight. In this critical left-hander, DJ and Lamb battling it out. Darkrai now down in 3rd place. They're switching positions back and forth here. Certainly no team orders going between the Phoenix Esports drivers. The same, I think, can be said about the VLX cars here. Wetzo, Nova, still in runners-up position, still looking to pick up the scraps. The more they're fighting there behind, it's going to allow Lamb, who's now back in the lead, to maybe get a bit of a run on the opposition here. Darkrai, DJ, side by side as they come into the final sector, down towards the final left-hander to complete the first lap. It's still Lamb leading for Phoenix 7, Darkrai 2nd, DJ in 3rd with Nova in 4th. Holman is up into 5th place for GRT in the Lexus, having done well. A bit of a scrape on the outside wall. And X11 in the Corvette. No, that's Fullness, of course. Fullness, nonetheless, still picks up the outside wall. And who is that? It's one of the VLX cars falling down through the field, having picked up a penalty. Oh, that's Wetzo. That might be very bad for one of the championship contenders. The question is where the penalty was picked up. It's not been too much time lost on the time side, you could say. But in terms of track position, that might be vital, because there's a world of difference between being in 4th and in 7th position once it starts stringing out. It's not like anyone is really easy to get past here. Every overtake usually pretty difficult to get done. We're back with the 2 leaders. It's Lamb, Darkrai now very close to one another. They're beginning to get a little bit of a gap down to Nova, now up into 3rd place, DJ 4th. And that is, of course, the situations that brought Holman up into 5th as well. So not much of an opportunity for Lamb to really escape here. Oh, what happened down here? Was that DJ? with a bit of a mishap. Coming onto the bridge yet again. Went side by side here with Hallman. They managed to actually get out of it. And Hallman gets ahead and they end up into 4th place. DJ leading Dr. LJ. Wetso still 7th, battling 5S there for that position. And this is all very, very, very close at the moment. And the question is here, DJ there on the inside line with maybe a bit of help there from Dr. LJ. Could have used a bit of a bump draft in the battle against the Lexus, as it basically is too wide, a two-car, too-wide train into the final corner. That's not gonna aid their pace though. As they desperately try just to get ahead of one another. On to lap 3 we are. A brilliant battle now here developing in the mid-pack. Wetso needs to get clear of all this as Dr. LJ picks up the outside wall yet again. Can't really find the bite, it seems, in the Cayman. Oh, and is that a lag spike for Wetso, or was that an absolute takeout? And the question is, takeout in what sense? Because I couldn't see any contact. Try from another angle here on board with Wetso. Once picked up a new reference point that was not intentional. And it could also just be the lag that he's suffering from, because he is a bit all over the place. The Aussie is not looking good though. With Darkrai comfortably second behind Lamb, charging ahead. The two Hondas now, of course, being caught up to, I think, it at least so it looks. Nova here in 3rd place is looking good. And it could look like some kind of netcode punt. Nova putting down the hammer here for VLX. And then in behind, 5 Science, and then DJ Hallman and Dr. LJ in a very close 3-way fight. Let's go on board with DJ here from the WAN cam. As he gets a poor exit onto the start-finish straight, that really opens the door for Hallman. He's going to be on the inside. You can see the light cones from the Lexus. The question is, does he have his nose in enough? I think he does up the inside. There's going to be a difficult one to defend. Well, he manages to keep it in there. And the next one's a right-hander. Be up as the advantage Hallman though, as he just squeezes in front. And the GRT Lexus up into 5th place. The 2 Porsche Caymans of DJ and Dr. LJ right in behind. Wetso now in 8th place. And here is the 2 Hondas, followed by a BMW trying to chase him down, but they are consistently setting fast lap times out ahead. Yeah, 5 Signs has made it up into 4th place, really showing that the race pace is there in all of the Hondas. Oh, and here comes Wetso. No, that's Hallman on the outside, of course, with DJ and Dr. LJ. Looked slightly similar. That's, of course, my mistake. Wetso is right there in behind in 8th place, of course. Here's DJ reclaiming 5th from Hallman. And the leading duo of Honda's about to be a trio here as Nova's about to make contact. The good kind of contact for him, not the bad kind of touchy, rubby. Yes, that muting has nothing to do with me having spilled soda on my table and having to dry it up real quickly. Nothing to see here, moving along. Racing still going on though, and it's still status quo. Lamb, Darkrai, and Nova, the leading trio. Nova setting the fastest lap just before my spillage incident. And it's still looking good for the Brit, who's made that contact, as I mentioned before, the good kind of it. Greetings, Martin. Let's see further down here. Oh, still a close battle for 5th. Huetzo has made up quite a few positions. A bit of a defensive move into turn 1. To fend off a bit of a scent from DJ, a bit of a look at least. Now back up with the leaders. Wancam time it is here. We're on board with Lamb looking back at Honda, Phoenix Esports, teammate Darkrai, and then Nova for BMW. BMW and VLX, of course. Oh, was that a poor... You have to question, was that a poor exit or was that a lift from Lamb to just let Darkrai through? The pace mightn't have been completely satisfactory. Nova getting closer and closer. I'm not quite sure of that actually. So an interesting three-way battle that's developing now here at the head of affairs. We'll have to see just how they'll be getting on here. Lamb, it's sort of used as a shield. This sort of reminds me of The situation we had in the 1998 Formula One season, as the McLarens of Mika Häkkinen and David Coulthard fought off the Ferraris of Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine. But it was mostly Michael Schumacher up there at the top. And we often saw the teammate David Coulthard in that situation, the slightly slower of the two, maybe the one there to fend off the opposition coming in from behind. Oft used tactics in racing here. The lamb has been sacrificed. That's a good one, Apple. But indeed, just to take a look back at the situation, with that passing move here, lamb, on board we are. Is it a bad run or a lift? No lift detectable here for us, so could just have been a bad exit. The straights of Sainte-Croix long enough for Lamb to actually leave a message here about him saving fuel. Well, that ends all kind of discussion there as well. And no, we do not condone texting and driving here on ESGT. Stay safe out there. Goes for Lamb as well. So the situation still pretty much stat quo. They might just be splitting it up there, Lamb, Darkrai, as they're closing in on the halfway distance of the race. Only a bit over half of the fuel tank that's been burned, or what was in it at the start of the race. At least here, Darkrai gets a little bit far towards the exit of the final corner, but they seem to be pretty well off in the end to do a one-stop here, and that'll settle them fine on both fuel and tires. The leading trio around the first corner. I was about to say the final corner. I'm really used to this track the other way around here. 5 signs now in 4th place, really looking good. Being hunted by Huetzo. The returning Huetzo has had a bit of a tough time this race. Holman is now in 6th place, DJ 7th, Dr. LJ. Those still, I think, not too far from one another. That at least goes for Holman and DJ, because Dr. Lovejuice has lost some time there. X11 is in 9th at the moment there in the Kinetic Lexus, in front of teammate Fullness. Pamigo in 11th place. And in 12th, it's Tuccio in the Ferrari, trying to hunt down the Lexus of Pamigo, the One Racing Esports Lexus, that is, of course. Now back with the leaders, because Nova is making moves here. Oh, Darkrai down into 3rd place. So Lamb gets the run, kind of shields off. And a bit of a squeeze towards the wall from Nova and the BMW, but you can't just disappear into the thin air of where you came from without ghosting, and that's not what we want to see. So a bit of a squeezy move, sometimes that happens, but that just threw the entire top 3 on its head. And Lamb is now leading Nova and Darkrai. 5 signs still 4th, Huetzo in 5th place, but this has opened the door for VLX and for the BMW of Nova, who's in a good position now. And we'll have to see just what Nova can make of this situation. Still very close here. The top 3. The first corner. Lamb, Nova, Darkrai. And then further down is 5 signs and Huetzo, Omen, DJ, and Dr. LJ. Wetso getting past on 5 signs there. That's in turn 1. Just a bit of paint trading there, but nothing nothing serious at all. I don't want to say nothing outside of the rulebook either. The slightest of touches. Nova trying to have a look while still having to defend here from Darkrai, but those could be 2 sides of the same story in the end. Looking up the inside of Lamb while trying to cover the inside from Darkrai, and a sandwich of 2 Hondas is the VLX BMW here at the moment. We are on lap 9th. We are at the halfway point of this race. It is still all within a second here. The top 3 so close to one another. The VLX BMW is very much there. And their performances have been getting better as the season has been progressing. They've had the pace all the way through. But the consistency of Nova and Wetso has been growing here, and 5 Signs has gotten back into 4th place. And Wetso has lost about a second's worth of time there. Is it something we can catch? Most certainly is not. Oh, the first 2 pit stops is now occurring there in Nova. And Darkrai, Wetso, 5 Signs pitting in as well. You can see Darkrai 23% of fuel left in the Honda, just 11% left in Nova's BMW, and that's quite a bit of time lost in the pits for Nova, who has to fuel up 15% more, and that equates to 4 seconds lost to Darkrai in the pits. And there it is yet again, the BMWs that are losing out once it comes to the strategy, once it comes to the pit stop rounds. It's not the first time we've seen VLX lose on this occasion. I know this myself. I've been driving this car in league racing as well, and been suffering all too much under that fuel consumption, even though it has a 7-speed gearbox. Lamb, of course, attempting the overcut here on worn tires, but with a very light car that might make all the difference, though that is not the way to go around quickly, scraping the wall like that. Dr. LJ, first of the cars not to pit in behind almost the entire field, going in there at the end of lap 9. The Cayman of Dr. LJ, one of the few not to do so. DirtDK is indeed big time thirsty. This might be crucial as well here, as Darkrai might be held up on the outlap as Lamb is pitting in. Lamb, who's been saving a lot of fuel, actually, considered that he did another lap and came in with about the same amount of fuel that Darkrai had a lap ago. Of course, Dr. LJ in what could basically be an empty tank. Now, where is Lamb going to be exiting? It's going to be in second, I think. Well clear of Nova as well. And so we have a situation that we've seen before. Now Darkrai leads by 1.7 seconds down to Lamb. The 2 Hondas are yet again in front of Nova after the pit round. It's So we're into the second half of the race. It's now going to be a sprint to the line. And if Nova can find the same kind of pace, there might still be chances left in this race. The thing is that 2.5 second gap, it's a bit of a gap to close up to Lamb up ahead now. Especially considering that Lamb will probably not need to fuel save at all here for the final bit of the race. It's most probably going to be a charge to the line. And look at this. An almost entirely American top 8 save for a Brit and an Australian. It's almost like looking at Nigel Mansell in the IndyCar season of 1994. Oh, look at this here. 5 signs. Wetzel claiming 4th place onto the bridge. Oh, and that's after I think they both actually made a bit of a mistake there. Coming off the long straight, I was almost so close to calling it the Mulsanne straight. But this track does indeed have a bit of a Le Mans vibe to it, with its part seemingly at least to be permanent track bits, and the parts that it has that are also seemingly at least public road. Of course, this track is a Polyphony Digital original track. One of the many really well-designed tracks that they have made over the years. Need I mention favorites and classics such as Grand Valley, Midfield, Deep Forest, Trail Mountain. Red Rock Valley was kind of strange, but it was also kind of cool with its banked corners. Gran Turismo 4 had some really cool tracks as well. So over the years, indeed, PD has done a really good job here of coping with track design. Oh, what's happened to the advantage there for Darkrai? That's all but melted away. And Lamb is now back ahead. And Nova has split time here in behind, 3.9 seconds behind the two leading Hondas. It's Honda, BMW with the two Phoenix Esports drivers. Lamb and Darkrai leading Nova and Wetzel. So all in all, it's looking pretty good for championship leader Darkrai, mind you. Nursing a gap of only 2 points down to Wetzel in the end there. So Nova will really be on a mission now. Darkrai. I don't know what happened there. So the American will have to use our imagination. And so now the question is, will Nova even be able to do anything? Trials Mountain. I think he'd be honored. I was naming. Please, PD, bring back Trial Mountain so we can bring in Trials Mountain. The Trials Mountain 1000. Oh, that'd be beautiful. Lamb in the lead. And so the Lamb that has been sacrificed has risen to lead the pack. Wetzel still fending off 5 signs. If 5 signs are seeing the levels of lag that we are seeing here from Wetzel, I think it's going to be a pretty difficult battle to deal with for 5 signs here. Hallman is still sick. There's a bit of a gap. DJ and Dr. LJ 7th and 8th, and I think further down the order here, that's Tucho and Pamigo. Pretty close as well. 0.6 of a second separating the Brazilian from the Portuguese. As I say that of course increases ever so slightly. Lamb is really putting down the hammer at the moment. It's now up to 1.5 seconds. And in the process, putting in the fastest lap so far, at least on the lap before on this one. Improving again on this lap. Lamb is now really leaving the pack for dead. Yeah, that does look like borrowed warp speed technology to me. Some of that slight warping from side to side. That look, but to be honest, let's have a look at the wobbly nature of 5 Signs did go past here on Wetzo. And that makes 4 Phoenix Esports drivers now in the top 5. Still only 2 teams represented up there at the real pointy end of affairs here in Division 1. Five laps left of the race now. Look at the pace being put in here by Lamb. We're going to switch to the forwards facing camera. Pad player, from what I understand. If that's true, that is some smooth operating indeed. Well, that's very much true. And you can always say that mistakes, they always loom right there in the background, ready to creep in if concentration slips away. And we've seen it so many times before, of course, in situations where the gap is ample enough for the mistake not really to count. Could find yourself being saved, being salvaged in that situation indeed, but I don't think Lamb is looking at any type of advantage that would be in that kind of size, in that kind of order here. 2 seconds it is now to Darkrai in second. And then a further 3.5 seconds down to Nova, who's matching the pace of the Honda in front. Not able to match the pace of Lamb up ahead, who seems to be a notch above everyone else here today. Dr. LJ, X11, they're in 8th place, and then Tucho and DJ down in 10th position. Where did DJ come from? That's a good question. We lost a bit of time here, I think. And a bit of a penalty as well. So there might have been wall contact involved for DJ in picking up that penalty as well. I'd not be surprised to find that would be the situation. 4 laps of racing left for the leaders now. Lamb into the 16s on that last lap. 2:16.8. Hugely impressive pace. And the Hondas yet again showing that they are a tad above the rest of the field. And under this BOP, they are really hard to touch on, well, any type of circuit in the end. They have just the right combination of raw speed and a really good fuel economy to match it. on board. Here we are with third place in the BMW. It's Nova, who will still be there fighting for positions in the championship. Here 5 Science and Wetso going side by side in the long, and that left-hander leading onto the bridge. 5S is looking for the exit here, but I think Wetso gets the cutback in the BMW. Keeps a hold of 4th place here. Brilliant one. Good racing here. Side by side as they exit. A very difficult corner indeed. 5S does a good job to put it in there, but it's also hard to get the good exit. And a patient move from the Australian to hold on to 4th place. Wetso really having to fight for the points here, it seems. 13.7 seconds. You can really see those positions that were lost early in the race for Wetso, although it was only a couple of seconds. And there was a penalty picked up at some point. That's multiplied by so many times because of all the battling that's been done on his account ever since. And in turn, it's been a long fight for this place alone here with 5S, who's been on the tail of Wetso all the way through this race. The NSX having a look. Wetso is fending off the outside, and then he fakes it inside. But the good old wobble lag comes to the aid of Wetso here. 4.2 seconds. The lead is now up to Verlaine. The slipstream was broken long ago, and the lamb has disappeared into the darkness for Darkrai. Nova has actually gained a little bit here, but it's not going to be enough. At least not at the current rate. Still 3 seconds. Oh, a bit of a scrape. Further down, we're looking at a bit of fighting here and fighting in the field. Oh, they have now been separated. Here's DJ gets a terrible run from the open hairpin, the left-hander. Let's have another look at it. Esports came in, just goes wide, and there's no grip out there to bring it back. That's gonna be a lot of time loss as well. 11th place it is at the moment for DJ. 5 seconds now, the advantage for Lamb. I think Darkrai might be falling a little bit off the pace here. Look at the advantage down to Nova. Seems to me that it's crumbling away. And it's a good point that even with a custom BOP, it's still hard to tame the power of the Honda NSX. Certainly, of course, PD should look at revising their Group 4 BOP to maybe even out the playing field a little bit. I don't know how it is on tires, but it doesn't seem to me that it's too bad. Perhaps if you were running with the extreme tire and fuel multipliers that PD used to run with, it would make more sense, but it's a bit hard to imagine for me. But as I said early in this race as well, the level of drivers that are fielding the Honda NSX also makes for a powerful combination that is indeed very, very hard to beat. We are on the penultimate lap, and Lamb has got a good advantage down to Darkrai. Now really having to keep his tongue in cheek because it's 2.3 seconds. It's not going to be a lot before Wetso gets within the slipstream. The grunt of the BMW is going to pull the Brit up pretty shortly. Would he get in there? So could we see a late charge here from Nova to get something out of it in the championship here? Wetso still holding on to 4th place. And that close grab for position with 5S. Holman is in 6th, Dr. LJ in 7th, X11 for Kinetic in 8th. Yeah, they got, I think that's where all the speed stripes on the side of the VLX cars come from, to be honest. been quite a bit of nudging the wall there on the outsides, but it is, to be fair, not a track that has a whole lot of room for mistake. A very old school sort of racetrack here, Sainte-Croix. And a very liked track as well. Does have a nice flow to it, does have a nice raceability, and look at this now, 7.1 seconds the advantage of Lamb heading on to the final lap. What's even more interesting perhaps is that Nova is really beginning to close the gap on Darkrai. Darkrai 1.3 seconds down on personal best lap on the penultimate lap. The question of the American having to fuel save to get it to the line. It might be, I'd be surprised to see Darkrai making that kind of mistake, because he's been so consistent strategically as well. Over the course of this season has made very few mistakes, has been there to make the points count at almost every occasion. Now Nova's almost within the slipstream, but he might just be a lap too late, but not really a chance to make much of it. Half a lap still to go. A bit more than that perhaps. Still not really within the slipstream. At least not really enough to make it count. And I think Darkrai got this one under control. Be interesting to see if 5S can nudge in front of Wetzo in that battle for 4th place, but right now it seems like Wetzo's got the gap, 1.1 seconds. Still a good bit of distance between the battle for 2nd and the battle for 4th. The same for the rest of the field here. Status quo 1.6 seconds, so Darkrai has certainly picked up the pace on this lap. And I think Lamb is going to grab that fastest lap by quite a margin. 8 seconds is going to be the margin of winning. And for a driver who spent time in Division 2, the comeback has been strong indeed. It's not going to be for Nova unless Darkrai makes some kind of silly final corner mistake. And speaking of final corners, here it is for Lamb, who's gonna take the checkered flag of the penultimate round here, coming back to Division 1. And in what a way of returning. Lamb picks the win for Phoenix Esports. Darkrai, the championship leader, gets 2nd. Most importantly, he gets 2nd in front of the VLX competitors. Nova gets 3rd, and Wetzo looks to be holding on to it, although 5S has gotten there. And have they had some kind of contact? 5S is maybe a little bit... Is it the wobbly lag that he's been seeing? I'm not quite sure if it is. He's been a patient man to be dealing with it. Picks off 5th in the end here. Dr. LJ and Hallman, that's to the line between the two. And Dr. LJ gets Hallman there for 6th place. We didn't see the pass. But it wasn't long ago that Hallman seemed to have 6th place in the bag. It's 7th for the GRT driver. DNA Tucho gets 8th. X11 for Kinetic is 9th. And there we have the complete results with DJ. Was that Fullness? Fullness and Pamigo. Well, Lamb, don't be too hard on yourself. It takes 2 to tango. It takes a good car and a good driver to be dominant at this level. So, let's not put too much into the hands of the NSX. Nonetheless, it is a strong car. And it's another strong result for Phoenix Esports with a 1-2 win here. The penultimate round of the ESGT GT4 series from the Circuit de la Sarthe Layout B in reverse edition. just gonna be hopping over in Discord. See if any drivers would be interested in speaking to us here at the end of affairs. We are, of course, or we are, say myself in pluralis. I am very much open. I'm very much open to talking with any drivers who wants to give in a word. Anyway, further down the order, looking at it, Wetzel fourth. Wetzel might still be second in the championship coming out of this round. Did have a bit of a lead down to Nova there, so even single place is not going to do too much. Although it's going to be more of a lead for Darkrai coming into the final round, and that's going to be a very nice situation to be in for the Americans, especially given that Nürburgring always is a tough place to race. Dr. LJ, sitting 5th before this round, has gained points on his Metallic, who dropped out of this race during qualifying. That was a bit of an unlucky one. That, I think, has gifted 4th place to Dr. LJ. Will now be best of the Caymans. Will still be best of the Caymans. Was already best of the Caymans coming into this round. But all in all, I think we had some very good racing. Nice to see that the BMWs of the VLX team was able to put in a charge. Nova certainly got close, but after that pit stop round, there wasn't really any coming back from such a gap. And yet again, as said before, the Hondas proving strong, proving too strong for the opposition to do anything about, really. Indeed. We will be back on April the 19th, if I'm not completely mistaken. It is indeed Sunday, April the 19th, so a bit of a break before we have the final round of the ESGT GT4 series getting underway from the Nürburgring. It's going to be a championship decider with Darkrai defending the lead in the standings in front of Wetzel. And I think I have just have a feeling it's going to be a really good finale. It's going to be a really good race. I want to say thanks for tuning in with me here tonight on ESGT Official. My name is DirtenDK, and if you want to see more of what I do, you can tune in to Have the Race Gone here on YouTube. Check out what I do on a regular over there. Of course, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more ESGT Official. We've got weekly race highlights coming up from the different divisions as well here on the channel. Don't miss out on those. And with that said, see you on the 19th. And from me, DirtenDK, here tonight. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, take care, have fun, and bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, who's here?
Hello.
Oh, shit. Ah! we have a gang of people. That's the best interruption I've ever had. Like, oh, people want to speak, yada, yada, yada. And then nobody says anything.
Wait,
in Discord. Out? My Discord, no, it's not out. I'm still running. My Discord is in streamer mode, so it didn't say anything with people joining into the party.
Oh, it was pretty late.
It might have been a little late. Sometimes I'm not quite sure if there's even the time to like just after a race. But anyways, where to start, Lamb? What a return to Division 1. That was an absolutely stunning final stint that really That was really a hammer put down, just like that bit of a scooter going off outside my door. I don't know if you heard that.
I did.
Yeah, it was quite
It was quite nice.
Quite the scooter. Huh?
That's what we were doing.
Yeah, just scooting away at the front.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fuel race, obviously. So if I'm on pole, the only thing I can do is say fuel right, because if people are following me, then all they have to do is save behind me, and then that would hurt me in the pits. So I slowed up on my first stint, saved as much as I could. I know Darkrai went for a pass because he was afraid of Nova getting by him, and that was all fine until he messed up. But then I got back past, and it was a little bit funky for the first half, but that's only because I wasn't going as fast as I could be. And then when I pit, I just took enough fuel to go full pace at the end, just like I would in an FIA race, and it was pretty simple. My goal, because the last 2 races I did in Division 2, I beat everybody by basically 10 seconds. My goal again was to just beat VLX by 10 seconds, because I wanted to say, yeah, I should be here, and I want to beat them. So I'm glad I did what I wanted to accomplish.
You certainly underlined that with a very strong performance today. Congratulations on the strong win, Lamb. We're going to go on to our second place finisher today, and first in the overall standings, Darkrai. How does it feel being, can I say you're at this moment close to achieving the overall victory with a single round remaining?
Yeah. That race was weird. I had no practice. The track that I'm not familiar with. You know, I just had to play by the cards again. I took less fuel in the pits in my second stint, and that's why I was like a second slower a lap, unfortunately. But you know, it happens. Sometimes you just make mistakes, and sometimes you're just gonna need to practice more in races. So I'm not too bothered by second place. I'm still ahead of Huezo in the championship. As long as I can just hold it together, you know, through this last round, then I think I should be fine for the remainder. Well, I should be fine for the remainder of the championship.
Yeah, indeed, second place is by no means bad when you're ahead of all the competitors in the overall standings. So if the conditions were limited practice and such, I think that was a strong race in the end.
Yeah, I had my plan was to just overfuel in the pits, but apparently I didn't do that. Fortunately, it cost me about 6-7 seconds. Fortunately, again, I'm not bothered. I'll keep taking second places just as long as I beat Huezo. It's fine.
The Alan Prost of the ESGT.
Yes.
Anyways, congratulations on yet another podium result and a very, very strong looking in the standings coming into the final round. And I think that'll be it for interviews. We had 5S in here before, but he's vanished again. So he might have just wanted to make sure that there was actually some interviews happening. So with that psych out of the way from before and the interviews done, really nice to get a word in with the drivers at the top end of affairs here from tonight. I'm gonna call shots, throw my mouse on the table, and it was even on the floor, and say thanks for joining us here in ESGT Official. My name is DirtenDK. It has still been a big old pleasure having you all along. I will see you all in 3 weeks' time on April the 19th for the final round. And until then, this time for real about it, take care, have fun,